was nominated by 24th District Senator Kevin Vandeweghe and selected by others at the state capitol to be the performer for this year. She was also backed by a group of high school students from River Ridge High School doing American Sign Language to the anthem. Bacon, a lifelong resident of Sequim, she's performed as a featured vocalist locally, regionally, and nationally since she was a very young child. And when not performing on the stage, she's also a radio personality and promotions director for us here at KONP. Well, as the 2024 legislative session began yesterday, lawmakers wasted no time passing a bill that could help to increase affordable housing options across the state. John Satgast has that story.
House Bill 1245 would require cities to allow lot splitting. Under the bill, splitting a single residential lot into two lots would be legal as long as minimum requirements are met, such as lot size. Olympia Representative Andrew Barca says lot splitting could provide a readily available source of new housing at a time when Washington faces a deficit of more than 1 million homes over the next 20 years.
We have the need for additional buildable lots to increase the supply of housing, especially affordable housing, Madam Speaker. And last year, with what we did with middle housing and ADUs, well, this is the sweet spot. This bill will help that even more so by providing those buildable lands for those particular units to be built.
It was one of the first bills to pass the House this session, which opened at noon on Monday. The vote was 94-4. It now heads to the Senate for further consideration. John Satgast, the state capitol.
Dan Frizzell reports more now on the first day of the session.
The Washington State Legislature gavelled in its short, even-year session Monday with the House wasting no time in passing the first bills of the year. In short order, representatives voted to outlaw child marriages, encourage affordable housing by allowing qualifying property owners to divide their lots, and help local governments deal with increasingly frequent extreme weather events. Representative Mari Levitt sponsored that weather bill.
This bill is really important because it'll save lives. It'll protect our seniors, our most vulnerable, during times of extreme weather events, whether it's in times of heat or cold, or times when the air quality is so poor that our children have to remain in their homes. By providing resources to our local cities and towns, we'll make sure that we're telling our neighbors we care about you and we want you to be safe, and we're going to get you out of the elements through these resources.
Levitt, a Democrat from University Place in Pierce County, introduced the legislation last year, but it ran out of time in the Senate before final passage. It left the House Monday with a better than 2-1 bipartisan vote, and Senate sources indicate it will be a priority bill in this 60-day session. In Olympia, Dan Frizzell.
More news after this.
What's the misconception when considering new cabinets for your home?
I think a lot of people are under the impression that if they go to the box stores, they're going to pay a lot less for their cabinets.
That's Tony from Tim's Cabinets.
Going custom cabinets, you're usually paying about the same or less.
Tim's Custom Cabinets in Sequim. 40-plus years experience ensures your cabinet project will be done right.
Let me help make the process comfortable. And at the end, you're going to be extremely happy with what we've done for you.
Tim's Custom Cabinets, Sequim.
Septic Myths and Facts, Volume 3.
I use an additive to help my septic system work better.
Washington State doesn't recommend you use any additives in your system. There's no evidence that they improve the life of a septic, and some can even be harmful.
But how do I know if it's working or damaging my system?
By having regular inspections. A list of licensed inspection professionals is available at Clallam County Environmental Health's website at clallam.net/septic.
Klahani Gymnastics is so much more than mats, bars, and balance beams. It's a place for building strength and confidence in our kids. It's promoting self-esteem and key building blocks for a healthy lifestyle. And of course, fitness is always fun at Klahani. Get the favorite child in your life a gift certificate for tuition and call to check on our schedule for upcoming classes. 360-457-5187. Klahani Gymnastics on Acorn Lane in Port Angeles, making fitness fun since 2009.
In other news, this past week, Washington State Ferries released a new contingency plan. The agency said full route restoration not expected until it gets new ferries in the year 2028. Currently, it has 15 reliable operating vessels with 6 other boats out of service due to staffing and mechanical issues. Washington State Ferry said restoration will be gradual and depends on when new vessels enter service. Routes like the Fauntleroy, Vashon, Southworth, and Seattle, Bremerton, all will get another boat. However, the international service to Sydney, BC is completely shut down right now. The state ferry system hopes to restore that route in the year 2030. Residents in a neighborhood in West Seattle commonly visited by bald eagles said they witnessed one of the birds get electrocuted. The disturbing incident happened over this past weekend. According to a wildlife biologist responding to the scene, the eagle hit some power lines. The collision caused a small power outage for about 150 customers in the area. The bird died immediately, according to wildlife personnel. Neighbors are now hoping the local utility company takes note of the eagle's death and sends a crew to properly space the electrical wires in the area so that the two lines can't be touched at once by the large birds when they swoop in. This is Newsradio KONP.
Rev up your engines, Port Angeles. First Race Car Wash is where premium Shell gas meets the ultimate car pampering experience. Swing by our convenient location for an upgraded car wash experience that'll leave your ride gleaming. Fuel up with Shell's finest and treat your car to the TLC it deserves. First Race Car Wash in Port Angeles. You're a winner every time when you've got that first race shine.
Your community-minded friends at First Fed bring you the Community Corner, highlighting good things happening right here in our area.
The Seroptimist of Port Angeles has their elegant gourmet coupon books available now for purchase. After nearly 40 years, the price of the Elegant Gourmet Coupon Book still just $10 and is the Seroptimist major fundraiser each year. Over $613,000 has been raised for our community, providing scholarships, awards, and projects. This year's coupon book is better than ever, with 8 new merchants joining. There's coupons on dining, espresso, treats and sweets, merchandise, and many services. Purchase your Elegant Gourmet, etc. today from your favorite Seroptimist member or embassy. Still only $10. The book pays for itself when you use just one of their valuable coupons.
Community Corner on KONP, presented by First Fed.
All Weather Heating and Cooling is your Carrier authorized dealer. The Infinity Heat Pump by Carrier offers the highest heating efficiency, making your home more comfortable and energy efficient. Contact All Weather Heating and Cooling today or go to carrier.com.
Here's your Newsradio KONP forecast. A wind advisory continues until 10 p.m. tonight. A coastal flood advisory continues until 4 p.m. this afternoon. High of 45 this afternoon under cloudy skies with showers likely. Winds out the west 20 to 30 miles per hour. About an inch of snow Thursday through Thursday night. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently 45.
From ABC Sports, this is Rich Cantu. Hail to the victors.
8 seconds to go. Michigan has won the college football national championship 34-13.
The call on ESPN Radio, the Michigan Wolverines winning their first college football national championship since 1997. Despite a sign-stealing scandal and a brief suspension during the regular season, Jim Harbaugh was able to guide his team to a perfect 15-0 record.
It couldn't have gone better. It went exactly how we wanted it to go, to win every game. The off-the-field issues were innocent. And we stood strong and tall because we knew we were innocent.
With rumors swirling about him maybe leaving Ann Arbor, Harbaugh was asked if he would like to win a Super Bowl.
I just want to enjoy this. Does it always have to be, what's next? What's the future? Like I said the other day, I hope to have a future.
NBA Grizzlies star Ja Morant will have season-ending surgery after tearing a labrum in his right shoulder during practice on Saturday. On the courts, Celtics-Pacers finishing a home-and-home.
Mathurin shoots 3. He is 3 of 4 in this game, and now 4 of 5.
The call on 1070, The Fan. Benedict Mathurin knocked down 2 of 3 free throws after a Kristaps Porzingis foul from beyond the arc with .6 on the clock. The Pacers beat the Celts 133-131. Tyrese Halliburton to get an MRI after a hamstring strain. The Jazz drubbed the Bucks 132-116. Clippers crushed the Suns 138-111. Thunder beat the Wizards 136-128. NHL, the Canucks doubled up the Rangers 6-3. Avs edged the Bruins 4-3 in a shootout. Stars blanked the Wild 4-0, and the Penguins beat the Flyers 4-1. This This is ABC Sports.
In local sports, the Port Angeles Rough Rider bowling team at 8-4 on the season gets back to action today. They're traveling to Tuffclahoya for a 2:45 start time. In high school basketball tonight, the 4-1, 6-2 Squim Wolves girls travel to Olympic to take on a 2-3, 5-6 Olympic Trojan team. The Wolves are leading the Olympic League in offense, scoring 54 points per game while giving up 45 points per game. The Wolves have 3 players scoring in double digits now. Gracie Chartrand leads the way at 15 points a game, Jolene Vara at 14 points a game, and Bobby Mixon scores 10 points per game. Danny Herman's leading the Wolves in rebounds with 10 per game. The Wolves have been ice cold at the free throw line, though, with Libby Torella being the only Wolves shooting over 50%. She's at 69% from the line. The Wolves are only shooting 42% from the line as a team. The Trojans are scoring just 40 points per game. They give up 46 a game. And you can hear tonight's game live on KONP. The tip-off at 7 o'clock. We'll join that right after our Kraken broadcast. In other high school action, the Rough Rider girls host Kingston. In boys action, the Rough Riders are at Kingston and the Squim Wolves host Olympic. All tip-off times at 7. In NWAC college action tomorrow night, the Peninsula Pirates open up league play at home, bringing in Whatcom. The women tip off at 5, the men tip off at 7. And there's boys high school swimming action tomorrow. The Rough Riders travel to Kingston for a tri-meet against Bainbridge and Kingston. They'll start at 3:30. Kraken hockey on the air this afternoon at 3:30, and then we'll follow that up with Squim Wolves basketball here on KONP tonight.
The premium compact powerhouse is here. The new MT225S from LS Tractor. 25 horsepower, 2-pedal hydrostatic transmission, and a highly featured operator platform. Now available with dealer-installed cab. All backed by the legendary LS Tractor warranty. Demo the new MT225S at your local dealer today.
Find the perfect LS Tractor for you at Leitz Farm Supply in Squim. Locally owned and operated. Call Leitz at 360-452-1400.
LS Tractor, simply more.
Since 1955, our community has enjoyed Pepsi products right from our local bottler, Peninsula Bottling. And for decades, this product has been a part of each generation in some way. From memorable jingles to hilarious commercials and big celebrity endorsements, Pepsi was and is still part of your generation.
Pepsi belongs to your generation. Why else would Pepsi try so hard to be where you are? Everywhere.
Thanks, Peninsula Bottling, for being a part of our generation.
20 minutes after 12, let's get an eye on Wall Street's business news next.
Newsradio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Stocks are mostly lower in the final hour after failing to recover completely from an early sell-off. Dow Industrial's down 195, the S&P is down 11, the Nasdaq is up just 4 points. As the probe into last weekend's near disaster on an Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 9 continues, some good news for the plane maker. It reports over 300 737 MAX orders in December, a monthly record. Actor Tom Cruise is teaming up with Warner Brothers to develop new movie franchises. Cruise has done some of his biggest movies for rival Paramount, but has always made films for other studios. He'll have an office on Warner Brothers' Hollywood lot. After a 9-year stint in the pilot's seat at JetBlue, CEO Robin Hayes is stepping down. Longtime executive Joanna Garrity will take over as CEO next month, becoming the first woman to lead a major U.S. airline. Larry Kofsky, Bloomberg Radio.
Let's take a look at the rather wet noontime road conditions for you. That's next. Brought to you by McCrory Carpet One and Olympic Medical Center.
At McCrory Carpet One, they sell more than just carpet. If you walk on it, they carry it. Hardwood, laminate, vinyl, tile, stone, and more. Plus, experience their award-winning installation service on everything they sell. Because McCrory's sells more flooring than anyone else on the peninsula, and Carpet One stores sell more flooring nationally than anyone, they can say always priced right and always done right. McCrory Carpet One, serving the community since 1958.
Did you know that falls are the leading cause of injury among older adults? Here are a few tips to keep you safe and steady on your feet. Ensure good lighting. Remove tripping hazards like area rugs. Use handrails and stay active to improve balance and strength. But if you or a loved one has experienced a fall, don't hesitate to seek help. Let's work together to ensure you're safe from falls. For more information and resources on fall prevention, visit olympicmedical.org/preventfalls.
Newsradio KONP, traffic and roads.
Up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center we go now. That's where Steve's standing by, and a lot of weather to talk about in the traffic. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon. Yeah, interesting afternoon out there. Port Angeles Sequim area are actually doing reasonably well. Other than being wet and windy, things seem to be moving along pretty smoothly out there. Not incredibly busy. Just kind of light, steady traffic right now making its way through town, and a little bit slow going at that. So just be prepared for that. If you're on the highway between Port Angeles and Swim, no real issues right now. Windy and kind of pushing cars around a little bit from some of them gusts, but overall should be an okay trip for you. If you're headed beyond that, Hood Canal Bridge, good to go with no scheduled marine openings and actually fairly smooth water out there, so we're in good shape on that side. And state ferries are running on time. Now, if you're going out to the west end, a whole other story. Very windy out there and a lot of rain coming down, a lot of debris on the road, so be very careful. Fairholme Hills had trees going down all morning long. Same thing if you're trying to head out towards Clallam Bay, Nia Bay. Clallam Bay, the road is open, but the road to Nia Bay currently is closed at the CQ River with trees down there, so just be aware of that if you're headed out in that direction. So everybody, just be safe out there. Probably a good day to stay home. Everybody enjoy your afternoon. This is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, taking a look at some of the observations in the National Weather Service. We're seeing winds steady in the central part of the strait now at 60 miles an hour. Out on the coast and into the, northwest part of the peninsula, we are seeing 50-mile-an-hour winds. Those aren't gusts. That's steady winds reported in the last hour or so. We've seen some gusts near 60 and 70 miles an hour in a couple of spots. So certainly a lot of wind in the area. We had told you this was going to start to develop as we head through the day today, and we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Current temperature-wise, though, 42 in Port Townsend. It's also 42 at Forks out west. It's 43 in Sequim, 44 in downtown Port Angeles, and out at Fairchild Airport, it's now 45 degrees.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
You know, throughout the year, we've talked a lot about ultra-processed foods. Soups, sauces, frozen pizza, store-bought cookies, cakes, donuts. You know, these are the foods that you should not be eating a lot of, but a little bit every now and then. I mean, look, who can resist? Even still, I want to tell you about a new study out of the UK that found a link between ultra-processed foods, especially ones that are artificially sweetened, and depression. The link is complicated, and it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation, meaning do the ultra-processed foods cause more depression through a mechanism such as inflammation, or does depression cause people to eat more ultra-processed foods, be more sedentary, antisocial? More research is needed here, but for right now we can confidently say if you eat fewer processed foods and more real healthy foods, you're going to feel better. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
One other traffic note for you. The road out to Edis Hook is closed at the mill, basically, because of high waves going over the top there. They've closed the road out to Edis Hook except for emergency vehicles at this point. So no traveling out that way for the time being.
Hello, I'm Jerry Stewart, and this is One Moment in America. Recently, I was sent some info from the past, and it really took me back. Prepare to be taken back too after this important message.
Hello, this is Jerry and Kelly Stewart wishing you a happy new year. Kelly and I now have a whole new 2024 adventure that God has given to us to be part of His American group to save our nation. and the task God has given to us to spend the rest of our lives working to get our nation back to God. So what exactly are we doing? Well, we've built a new website which is full of God's true stories of our America when it was under God's leadership. Number 2, we're raising contribution ministry funds to help our fellow patriots in the getting of the strong lessons we all need to learn right now. So right now, please join our American Club by going to our website at www.jerrystewartusa.com. Also, could you please donate to our ministry to help us get out the word? Please call now, 817-995-6965. God bless you.
Recently, someone asked the question, what was your favorite fast food when you were growing up? The reply? There was no fast food. All the food was cooked slow. And where did we eat? At a place called home. Mom cooked it, and when our family all sat down at the dinner table, I had a choice. Eat what she cooked or sit there until I did eat it. Wow, what a concept. Our parents didn't drive us to school. We walked. If we were lucky, we had a TV, black and white, maybe 4 channels total. And get this, the TV channels all went off at midnight. But before they did, they gave a short devotional to God and played our national anthem. Wow, I sure miss it all. I'm Jerry Stewart, and that was One Moment in America.
The Washington State News Network, I'm Rob Francis. The Washington House already sending legislation to the Senate after passing an affordable housing bill on the first day of this year's session. The bill would require all cities to allow lot splitting, where a single residential lot could be split into 2 if minimum requirements are met, such as lot size. Olympia Republican Representative Andrew Barkas says it could provide a source of new housing at a time when Washington faces a 1 million home shortage over the next 20 years.
We have the need for additional buildable lots to increase the supply of housing, especially affordable housing, Madam Speaker. And last year, with what we did with middle housing and ADUs, well, this is the sweet spot. This bill will help that even more so by providing those buildable lands.
The vote was 94-4. The Walla Walla Fire Department mourning the loss of one of their own. The department announced Sunday afternoon the sudden passing of Ryan Pleasant, a veteran member of the department. According to Walla Walla Fire, Pleasant was 41 years old and was found Sunday morning at Fire Station 1, non-responsive. There's no foul play suspected. A Pierce County man will spend time in prison after shooting his friend in Parkland. In January of 2021, 23-year-old Caden Lee Osley shot his friend after smoking meth and heroin. Osley was arrested after a SWAT standoff several weeks later. He recently pled guilty to second-degree murder in Pierce County Superior Court and was sentenced to more than 13 years in prison. For more on these stories and others, download the WSNN mobile app. You can also visit our website, WashingtonStateNews.net.
If you're a contractor, it's now easier for you to do business with the Department of Labor and Industries. Go to lni.wa.gov/skip the line and make an appointment with us ahead of time. No waiting around, no wasted time away from your job site. You get in, get out, and get on your way. Easy. So contractors, just go to lni.wa.gov/skip the line to make an appointment and get back to doing what you do best.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. A Washington appeals court raised questions about Donald Trump's claims that he is immune from criminal charges. White House correspondent Greg Clugston with that report.
Trump was in the courtroom as his legal team sought to convince a panel of 3 judges that former presidents should not be prosecuted for actions they took in office. The judges appeared skeptical. Trump's lawyer said a former president could not be charged for conduct unless impeached and convicted by Congress, even if the conduct included selling military secrets or assassinating a political rival. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Also at townhall.com, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken holding talks in Israel as he seeks a plan for Gaza's post-war future. After a meeting with the Israeli foreign minister, Blinken says 4 Arab nations and Turkey have promised to help in rebuilding Gaza after the war.
I think there actually are real opportunities there, but we have to get through this very challenging moment, ensure that October 7th can never happen again, and work to build a much different and much better future.
Blinken is also trying to prevent an all-out war between Israel and Lebanon's terrorist group Hezbollah. Meanwhile, Hezbollah says it has launched a drone strike at Israel's army northern headquarters. That's in retaliation for recent strikes in Lebanon that have killed top Hamas and Hezbollah officials. The first U.S. moon landing attempt in more than 50 years is apparently doomed. That's after the private company's spacecraft developed a critical fuel leak that has dimmed hope for a planned moon landing in February. The Dow is down 177 points, but the NASDAQ ahead 19. More at townhall.com.
Donald Trump's indictment proves that saving America is not going to be easy. There are entrenched powers that are fighting this with everything they've got. They want to keep control over the country, the narrative, and the nation's money supply. Hi, I'm Lance Wallnau. I'm a news analyst, a Christian author, an evangelical leader. I speak to millions of people every week, people just like you. You see, what the elites are doing is using inflation and government handouts and now central bank digital currencies to determine how they're going to control America. And that's why I recommend all Christians start a gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group. Because physical precious metals are one of the few ways you can maintain control over your own savings. To get a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word faith to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and you'll see why a gold IRA can help you. There are no strings attached. Text the word faith to 989898, and you're going to be blessed by taking action right now.
4 days out from crucial national elections in Taiwan, where voters will choose legislators and a president.
Of the three candidates running to become Taiwan's next president, William Lai is the one China dislikes the most. It has warned Taiwan's electors that a vote for him could be a vote for war. Today, Vice President Lai rejected that assertion. Peace is priceless, he said, and war has no winners. He accused Beijing of attempting to influence the outcome of Saturday's election by mounting its most intense propaganda campaign ever.
The BBC's Rupert Wingfield-Hayes. Japan's transportation ministry introducing improved emergency measures for the country's airports a week after a fatal collision between two airplanes. The measures include more visible stop-line markings on runways and use of clearer language in traffic control communication. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. Activists are fighting in court to get Georgia to change its voting system.
Election integrity activists and other plaintiffs originally filed suit in 2017, wanting to put an end to the outdated paperless voting machines used in Georgia at the time. Now they say the newer touchscreen system made by Dominion Voting Systems is no more secure or reliable. But Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger has repeatedly defended the system, and he's at times lumped the plaintiffs in this lawsuit with supporters of former President Donald Trump. I'm Donna Water.
The CEO of JetBlue stepping down and being replaced by the first woman to head a major U.S. airline. JetBlue says CEO Robin Hayes will leave the job on February the 12th. He'll be replaced by current JetBlue President Joanna Garagti. She has been at JetBlue since 2005. More on these stories at townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
This is the Newsradio KONP Noon Report.
Todd Orthoff in the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening on this Tuesday, January 9th. The winter weather blowing into our area today. A wind warning is up for today on the North Olympic Peninsula. Strong westerly winds developing to gusts of over 50 miles an hour by later today. That's being accompanied with a lot of rain, and that heavy rain with high tides means a coastal flood watch is up for the peninsula as well. Then the cold comes. By Thursday, forecasters expect temperatures to dip to well below average for this time of year, and by the weekend, highs may not get out of the 20s. With that comes a threat of snow Thursday through Saturday. National Weather Service meteorologist Kirby Cook in Seattle says our area could see potentially more snow than other parts due to a strait effect they're watching.
whenever we get cold air, like this, we have to have Fraser outflow. And when that happens, the normally relatively dry part of the Olympic Peninsula from Port Angeles over to Port Townsend becomes upslope, and that's where you guys get more snow than anybody else, and that's in the realm of possibility with this event.
Yeah, about a 60% possibility of more than an inch of snow falling on Saturday and into the weekend, more than that. Kirk says the forecast models, though, continue to evolve heading into the weekend, so some of this still in flux. He is confident, though, that very cold temperatures will be coming. That means potentially tough travel due to icy roads, plus issues that come from those that are without shelter and animals that are outside. Well, the Washington State Legislature opened yesterday with a bit of a local flair. Sequim resident Amanda Bacon was chosen to perform the national anthem at the outset of the session in Olympia at high noon yesterday.
O'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Bacon was nominated by 24th District Senator Kevin Vandeweghe and selected by others at the state capitol to be the performer for this year. She was also backed by a group of high school students from River Ridge High School doing American Sign Language to the anthem. Bacon, a lifelong resident of Sequim, she's performed as a featured vocalist locally, regionally, and nationally since she was a very young child. And when not performing on the stage, she's also a radio personality and promotions director for us here at KONP. Well, as the 2024 legislative session began yesterday, lawmakers wasted no time passing a bill that could help to increase affordable housing options across the state. John Satgast has that story.
House Bill 1245 would require cities to allow lot splitting. Under the bill, splitting a single residential lot into two lots would be legal as long as minimum requirements are met, such as lot size. Olympia Representative Andrew Barca says lot splitting could provide a readily available source of new housing at a time when Washington faces a deficit of more than 1 million homes over the next 20 years.
We have the need for additional buildable lots to increase the supply of housing, especially affordable housing, Madam Speaker. And last year, with what we did with middle housing and ADUs, well, this is the sweet spot. This bill will help that even more so by providing those buildable lands for those particular units to be built.
It was one of the first bills to pass the House this session, which opened at noon on Monday. The vote was 94-4. It now heads to the Senate for further consideration. John Satgast, the state capitol.
Dan Frizzell reports more now on the first day of the session.
The Washington State Legislature gavelled in its short, even-year session Monday with the House wasting no time in passing the first bills of the year. In short order, representatives voted to outlaw child marriages, encourage affordable housing by allowing qualifying property owners to divide their lots, and help local governments deal with increasingly frequent extreme weather events. Representative Mari Levitt sponsored that weather bill.
This bill is really important because it'll save lives. It'll protect our seniors, our most vulnerable, during times of extreme weather events, whether it's in times of heat or cold, or times when the air quality is so poor that our children have to remain in their homes. By providing resources to our local cities and towns, we'll make sure that we're telling our neighbors we care about you and we want you to be safe, and we're going to get you out of the elements through these resources.
Levitt, a Democrat from University Place in Pierce County, introduced the legislation last year, but it ran out of time in the Senate before final passage. It left the House Monday with a better than 2-1 bipartisan vote, and Senate sources indicate it will be a priority bill in this 60-day session. In Olympia, Dan Frizzell.
In other news, this past week, Washington State Ferries released a new contingency plan. The agency said full route restoration not expected until it gets new ferries in the year 2028. Currently, it has 15 reliable operating vessels with 6 other boats out of service due to staffing and mechanical issues. Washington State Ferry said restoration will be gradual and depends on when new vessels enter service. Routes like the Fauntleroy, Vashon, Southworth, and Seattle, Bremerton, all will get another boat. However, the international service to Sydney, BC is completely shut down right now. The state ferry system hopes to restore that route in the year 2030. Residents in a neighborhood in West Seattle commonly visited by bald eagles said they witnessed one of the birds get electrocuted. The disturbing incident happened over this past weekend. According to a wildlife biologist responding to the scene, the eagle hit some power lines. The collision caused a small power outage for about 150 customers in the area. The bird died immediately, according to wildlife personnel. Neighbors are now hoping the local utility company takes note of the eagle's death and sends a crew to properly space the electrical wires in the area so that the two lines can't be touched at once by the large birds when they swoop in. This is Newsradio KONP.
End-of-life decisions are hard. Be it pre-planning or sudden loss, you need to have an advocate in your corner, which is why I wholeheartedly recommend Drennan and Ford Funeral Home and Crematory in Port Angeles, the only locally owned funeral home and crematory in Clallam County. Their expertise ensures a smooth process so you can focus on healing and being with your loved ones. Their help through the darkest time in my life will forever stay with me. Call 360-457-1210.
Oh, the many things we love about Squim. Yes, the sunshine, charming downtown, a simple life, and A1 Auto Parts in downtown Squim. A1 Auto Parts and Marine has been locally owned longer than the bypass has been there, delivering quality parts with professional expert service. You can rely on A1 Auto Parts to keep you and your car on the road. Find the experts at A1 in downtown Squim.
Next hour on the Todd Ortloff Show, a little bit about emergency response. As we're going to have a couple of folks from First Clallam 2 Fire Rescue, Fire Chief Jake Patterson joining us. We're going to specifically talk a bit about vehicle fires and safety with that. And then we'll be joined in the second part of the program by Clallam County Sheriff Brian King. So do join us for the TO Show next hour here on KONP. Now, let's talk about the weather forecast. We have a coastal flood advisory in effect till 4 this afternoon, a wind advisory up till 10 tonight. Rest of today, very windy. Look for a chance of a few rain and snow showers mixed, highs in the 40s. Look for west winds gusting to 50 miles per hour and then increasing to 60-mile-an-hour gusts later this afternoon. The windy conditions continue into tonight with clouds and rain and maybe some snow showers. Look for snow level about 1,000 feet. That'll be late tonight, and that means an accumulation on the hills of about an inch of snow tonight. Those will be in the low to mid-30s. West winds 20 to 35 miles per hour, and again gusting to about 50. Those will start to decrease overnight, though. Mostly cloudy for Wednesday with a chance of rain, maybe mixed with a couple of snow showers in the morning. Snow level gets down to about 500 feet Wednesday with your highs in the upper 30s to mid-40s. Cloudy Wednesday night. Some rain and snow showers in the evening and a snow level at about 500 feet. Lows will be in the mid-20s to the low 30s Wednesday night. Then Thursday, we start to get real cold. Breezy, partly sunny, some rain coming in, mixed with snow. Snow level at 300 feet and highs only reaching the mid-30s. Look for west winds gusting to 35 miles per hour Thursday afternoon. Breezy conditions into Thursday night as well, and maybe some clouds. Maybe some rain and snow, I should say, coming from the clouds in the evening hours on Thursday. Snow level right at sea level, and the lows down to 18 degrees Thursday night. Cloudy with a chance of snow Friday, with highs only reaching the mid to upper 20s. Cloudy and a chance of snow Friday night, lows down to 15 degrees. Saturday, cloudy, chance of rain and snow mix, snow level about 500 feet with highs in the lower 30s. And Saturday night, mostly cloudy, a chance of rain and snow, a snow level of 1,000 feet. Low's going to be in the low to mid 20s. Saturday night, clouds and some rain and snow mixed on Sunday with a snow level of 1,000 feet and highs in the mid 30s.
Hello, this is Amanda Huff with Squim Valley and Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapels. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about a new, exciting, and environmentally friendly development in the funeral industry. It's called natural organic reduction, or simply terramation. Perhaps you've heard of it. Terramation is a process in which the body, after death, is returned to the earth in a carbon-neutral, eco-friendly manner. The process takes place in a controlled environment, and all that remains is a natural, odorless, compost-like material. If you'd like more information about terramation and advanced planning, call us today at Harper Ridgeview in Port Angeles or Squim Valley Chapel in Squim, and one of our knowledgeable and caring funeral professionals will assist you in answering your questions. Harper Ridgeview and Squim Valley Funeral Chapels, because your loved ones deserve the best.
all parents of teens. Is your student getting ready to head to college or career training? Do you want to support them in getting the most aid for school? United Way of Clallam County can help. In partnership with Peninsula College, United Way is offering free student financial aid navigation for both parents and students. Go to unitedwayclallam.org/FAFSA-WASFA today to schedule a one-on-one with Kennedy, Student Financial Aid Liaison.
Imagine it's the final game of the season, but your symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, are making a comeback. What should you do? Keep managing your constipation with belly pain the same old way? Or try getting ahead of your symptoms by talking to your doctor about Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
When something happens to your car, you might say, but what you really need to say is something that can actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And just like that, State Farm is there to help you file your claim right on the State Farm mobile app. So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
Jackson Hewitt has a plan to get your tax refund fast with a buck here, buck there. Here a buck, there a buck, everywhere a buck.
You don't have to wait weeks for your tax refund. Get money sooner with a no-fee refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt.
On this loan, there's a money today guarantee. E-I-E-I-DO.
Don't settle for chicken feed. Get fast bucks at Jackson Hewitt today. No-fee refund advance loans by Republic Bank offered to eligible clients. Money today guarantee if approved for a loan on a prepaid card. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
The 2024 KONP Home Show is back. We are now accepting vendor applications for the largest two-day marketing event on the peninsula. Put your business in the middle of thousands of potential clients. The KONP Home Show will be Saturday and Sunday, March 9th and 10th, 2024. Sign up now for best locations and to lock in the lower rates. Call 360-457-1450. 360-457-1450. Get your space for the 39th annual KONP Home Show.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Just minutes to go ahead of the closing bell on Wall Street, and after Monday's big gains, stocks today are on track to end mostly lower. Financial firms taking big hits ahead of this week's latest bank earnings. Right now, the Dow is down 0.5%, the S&P down 0.25%, the NASDAQ is flat. Boeing shares down 1% as the investigation into last Friday's mid-flight near disaster where a fuselage panel blew off, now focusing on finding the 4 bolts that were supposed to keep that panel secured. But Boeing also had a record-setting December, orders for 369 aircraft. South Korean automaker Hyundai is going to test out flights of its new electric engine air taxi by the end of this year. And Grogu will begin production this year. It's based on characters from the Disney Plus streaming TV show The Mandalorian. It's the first Star Wars film in more than 4 years. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
Check on the traffic and roads one more time this noon hour next. Brought to you by Angela's Furniture and Leeds Farm Supply.
Just because the holidays are over doesn't mean the savings stop at Angela's Furniture. Right now, during the New Year event, you'll save on the Beauty Rest Black collection. Get up to $600 off select adjustable base sets. Stop in today and see for yourself why the Beauty Rest Black should be your New Year's gift to yourself. Call it a resolution to be better to your body. Get the refreshing sleep you deserve tonight on a new Beauty Rest, only at Angela's Furniture, 1114 East 1st Street.
LS Tractor. Do more for less. More standard features, more capacity, and more operator comfort. LS Tractor gives you more. A comprehensive warranty and more PTO horsepower. Do more on your farm, ranch, or acreage. Mow it, grade it, till it, or move it. Stop by your local participating dealer and join the growing LS Tractor family today.
Find the perfect LS tractor for you at Leets Farm Supply in Sequim. Locally owned and operated. Call Leets at 360-452-1400.
LS Tractor. Simply more.
Newsradio KONP, traffic and roads.
All right, up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center we go again. That's where Steve's standing by with another check of the roads for us on this rather blustery, wet Tuesday afternoon. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, interesting afternoon out there. If you're out driving around the Port Angeles area or the Sequim area, you should be doing fine. It's definitely breezy out there. A lot of rain coming down, but the roads are in pretty good shape, at least around the Port Angeles area. You should be fine. Pretty much the speed limit all the way through. Not real busy out there, but just kind of light, steady traffic right now. If you're on the highway between Port Angeles and Sequim, things are looking good as well. Not incredibly busy out there either, but the roads are in good shape. Traffic is moving along pretty close to the speed limit, but watch those gusts out there. Those will give you a lane change when you don't really want it, so just be careful as you're making your way through there. Beyond that, Hood Canal Bridge, good to go with no scheduled marine openings, and state ferries are running on time today. Now, if you're headed out to the West End, 101, yeah, kind of just want to be careful headed out there. A lot of debris on the road, a lot of trees going down in places. Right now, everything is open, but you just want to be careful on your way out. Pay attention to what's around you and be safe out there. Road to Nia Bay is open. They did get those trees around the CQ River cleared out of the way. So currently the road is open out to Nia Bay and over Burt Mountain, so we're in good shape that way. But just be careful out there. So everybody enjoy your afternoon, a little blustery out there. This is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
Thank you, Steve. And one in-town note, don't try to go out to Edis Hook because the road is closed. Big waves, lots of water over the roadway out there because of all of this wind and high tides, and they've closed the road as of the last hour or so there on Edis Hook. Well, yesterday, unfortunately, Huskies, University of Washington, losing in the college football national playoff game. Well, the CFP got a lot of attention this year off the field as well. ABC's Daria Albinger with a bit about that.
The head of the College Football Playoff Committee says members expect to be criticized by fans whose teams are left out. And sometimes those threats can be explicit. But Bill Hancock tells ESPN the response that Florida State wasn't selected has been over the top, including death threats. So the committee's notified the FBI. The Seminoles, who were undefeated, weren't selected for the 4-team field that this year included Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Alabama. Hancock won't further elaborate on the threats, and he says committee members followed the selection process to a T. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Paris has immortalized late British music icon David Bowie by naming a street after him. More on that from ABC's Tom Rivers at the Foreign Desk.
The unveiling of a street sign on what is now Rue David Bowie on what would have been his 77th birthday. The tribute in the 13th district near the National Library celebrates the artist's first Paris performance back in 1965, his first outside of the UK, and his lasting impact on music, fashion, and culture. Tom Rivers, ABC News at the Foreign Desk.
Right, do join us for the Todd Ortloff Show next hour. We'll be talking in the first half of the program with Clallam 2 Fire Rescue Chief Jake Patterson, specifically about vehicle safety, vehicle fire safety, in fact. And then in the second part of the show, we're planning to have Clallam County Sheriff Brian King join us. That's all coming up next hour on the TO Show here on KONP.
For many years, there's been talk that long-term use of the internet by older adults contributes to the risk of dementia. Only now do we have some concrete research. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by T-Mobile. Their advanced network now goes farther than ever before. Visit T-Mobile.com/55 today. With virtually no past research to guide them, doctors at NYU's School of Global Public Health and researchers at the University of Michigan, they set out to establish the first ever baseline study on what they call the long-term cognitive impact of internet usage among older adults. And what they found is noteworthy. After 17 years following 20,000 older patients, of those who were active internet users, the study places the risk of developing dementia at 1.5%. But with non-internet users, dementia risk soared to a whopping 10.4%. The brain seems to be like most other parts of the human body. As you age, use it or lose it. And get tech smart every single day at getkim.com. Does it make sense that the same company who controls half of all online retail also passively eavesdrops on your private conversations at home? What about the idea that a single company controls 90% of internet searches, runs your email service, and gets to track everything you do on your smartphone? Big tech is powerful, and they profit by exploiting your personal data. It's time to put a layer of protection between your online activity and those tech juggernauts. When you run ExpressVPN on your device, the software hides your IP address, making your activity harder to trace and sell to advertisers. ExpressVPN also encrypts all your internet data to keep you safe from hackers without slowing your connection. Just download the app on your phone or computer, tap one button, and you're protected. Go to expressvpn.com/Kim to get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/Kim to get 3 extra months for free. That address again, expressvpn.com/Kim.
We know sleep is good for us, but it may also help with our fitness and exercise goals. I'll tell you more after this.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
The importance of sleep for our overall health cannot be overstated. And now, research from the American Heart Association is looking at sleep and its relation to fitness. Researchers looked at about 125 people who were overweight or obese and followed them for a year. They found that people who got better sleep were more likely to be engaged and consistent with a fitness regimen. Sleep is often misunderstood as a luxury when it is truly a medical necessity. Insufficient sleep is linked to everything from an increased risk of heart disease, weight gain, cognitive problems, mood disorders, and much more. Make sleep a priority. I promise if you do, your health will improve. With Your Body, I'm ABC's Dr. Jen Ashton.
We're the talk of the peninsula. Newsradio KONP, Port Angeles Squim, FM 101.7 and 101.3, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is being treated for prostate cancer and recovering from complications that followed the procedure. The Walter Reed Military Medical Center says Austin was hospitalized on New Year's Day due to what turned out to be a urinary tract infection. That led to a days-long lapse in notification for the White House. The Pentagon's Major General Patrick Ryder today at a briefing says there is a review of protocols due to that gap.
We want to make sure that notifications are happening in a timely way, and in this way, as we've acknowledged, there were some shortfalls, and so it's important that we go back and look at what those shortfalls were, what could have been done better, and make sure that going forward we're improving those processes.
Lawmakers are back in session this week and are up against the clock to pass a spending bill and supplemental aid package for Israel and Ukraine and funding for the southern border. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell says it is critical that a bipartisan deal is reached.
This is the most serious international situation we have faced since the Berlin Wall came down. We need to pass a supplemental.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Israel today, meeting with Israeli leaders, and he also rejected the genocide case against Israel's military in Gaza.
At a news conference in between meetings in Israel, Secretary of State Blinken reacting to claims against that country to the International Court of Justice.
The charge of genocide is meritless.
Secretary Blinken says those claims are made by Hamas and Hezbollah, who
openly call for the annihilation of Israel and the mass murder of Jews.
Mr. Blinken's Middle East trip trying to find a peaceful end to the war in Gaza and other conflicts. Andy Field, ABC News.
Former President Trump appeared in an appeals court hearing for the federal election interference case in D.C. His attorneys tell the three-panel judge that Trump should be immune from charges while he was president. Prosecutors say Trump was acting in a personal capacity, trying to stay in office. You're listening to ABC News.
Imagine it's the last ride, but your symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, are taking you for a ride. What should you do? Keep managing your constipation with belly pain the same old way? Or try getting ahead of your symptoms by talking to your doctor about treating it with Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Evidence is pointing toward a natural gas leak as the cause of a building explosion in Fort Worth, Texas.
For people closest to the Sandman Signature Hotel, the roar was deafening.
It was just a huge boom. It was like a scene out of a movie.
A few blocks away, it wasn't as much hearing the blast as feeling it.
It felt like the sound waves go through your body.
I couldn't hear it. I didn't hear anything, just a strong shake.
Nearly 24 people were hurt, one of them critically. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Fort Worth.
The man seen on video attacking a judge in Las Vegas during a sentencing for battery appeared in court on new counts related to that court attack.
Hello, are you Mr. Redden?
Wearing a surgical mask and shackles, Deober Redden appeared in front of a new judge on a list of charges stemming from his attack seen on video that went viral as he jumped, flying over the bench of Judge Mary Kay Holthus last week. The new judge laying out the many new counts.
Count 1, attempt murder, victim 60 years of age or older, a felony.
Redden will not be able to post bail because he's already in jail in the previous battery case he was being sentenced for when he was seen attacking the judge. Alex Stone, ABC News.
It's that time of year again. The IRS announcing that January 29th is the official start date of the 2024 tax season. The agency expects to handle about 129 million taxes by the April 15th tax deadline. And Irish singer Sinead O'Connor died of natural causes, that according to a London coroner. I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Enjoy all the colors of the season. Your enjoyment starts now with help from Airport Garden Center. Airport Garden Center opened for business in 1977 as a pet, plant, and feed store by Eldora and Floyd Matthews. The Matthews family are still loving storekeepers to this day. Their family is dedicated to providing your family quality service and products for a fun, rewarding pet and child-friendly shopping atmosphere. Are you looking for a special, unique gift? Airport Garden Center is proud to support locally sourced items such as Full Moon candles and Pacific Rain Shadow Farms handcrafted soap and Miss B apiary honey. Go to airportgarden.biz for current specials or just stop by. They love helping you plan next season by offering monthly special savings. Airport Garden Center, planting knowledge, growing gardeners since 1977.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate Outstanding Agents. Outstanding results, 457-6600. Winter weather blowing into the area today. A wind warning is up for the North Olympic Peninsula through today, and a lot of rain as well. Coastal flooding watches are also up. And then cold comes. By Thursday, forecasters expect temperatures to dip well below average for this time of year. And by this weekend, highs may not get out of the 20s. With that, a threat of snow Thursday through Saturday. National Weather Service meteorologist Kirby Cook in Seattle says things are still in flux, but there is about a 60% chance of more than an inch of snow falling on the North Peninsula before the weekend is through.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. A wind advisory continues until 10 p.m. tonight. A coastal flood advisory continues until 4 p.m. this afternoon. Isolated rain showers likely this afternoon, otherwise cloudy. Daytime highs approaching 45. Winds out of the west, 20 to 30 miles per hour. About an inch of snow Thursday through Thursday night. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, it's 45 degrees.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
All right, welcome to the program. First half of the show today, we're going to be talking with Clallam 2 Fire Rescue's Chief Jake Patterson. Jake, good to have you back. Thanks for coming in. Happy New Year as well. So,
thank you.
First, we're going to talk about vehicle fires and vehicle safety and some things like that in a moment. But with the impending weather that we have now, I was, curious as to, in the fire service, how you deal with things like potentially bad weather, because it's twofold. You may have to go out on some rescues for folks. Plus, it also can be pretty inhibiting for your crews too, especially in a rural fire district. I would think like this.
It is. Our crews prepare for winter, so we get the chains ready, make sure they fit, make sure everybody knows how to put them on the vehicles. Additionally, we make sure that all our saws are ready to go, because we have in the past gotten to certain places and needed to clear roadways. And
that's been an issue even today. If you've been following heading out west, there's a lot of trees that were down close to the highway as well. Not just those side roads, but sometimes the main stretches will get trees over them.
Yeah, exactly. And then the trees will take down power lines and whatnot. And we can, we normally like to babysit down power lines in windstorm events. We can quickly get overwhelmed. And so sometimes if you see cones sitting by themselves or near power lines, there to warn you, but our crews had to leave for another call. So unfortunately, we can't sit and try to protect them as much and wait for PUD or City Light to get there, because they're going to be quickly overwhelmed as well. So.
Is there a fear with this really cold weather coming too that that's going to change the dynamic of calls for you folks?
It does, and it's going to depend if we get the snow. The snow, when we get our first snow of the season, it can tend to weigh down trees and branches and stuff like that, but it also delays responses and whatnot. So cold also, people tend to, if we lose power, we go back to the whole carbon monoxide portable generator thing. Be cognizant of that. When people start having to find auxiliary heating sources, unfortunately, sometimes the desire to stay warm kind of overrides maybe some of the safety precautions people may normally take. So we need people to be aware of that.
And certainly it's wintertime. We're seeing there's been a couple of, not just in the adjacent districts too, where we've seen some house fires, some structure fires, if you will. Some of that just happens to be that this is when we start heating with things.
Yeah, wood stoves are more frequent. Chimney fires can help sometimes spread, so we always recommend everybody gets their chimney inspected annually to make sure that there's not a creosote buildup, or that it's still providing a good barrier when you have a fire in your fireplace.
Do you have certain apparatus that is going to work better in the snow than others? I'm always curious about this. Does it get to a point, I'm thinking about, and let's hope we don't have this, but we get one of those events where we get 3 or 4 feet of snow around here. Do you start having to I don't want to say ration out, but kind of figure out, okay, these are the only vehicles that really are going to be able to get out and get around at this point, especially in some of those higher hills and off the main drag, so to speak?
Yeah, we do. We just we took delivery of our first 4-wheel drive ambulance back in May of last year. And so this will be our first winter that we have that capability.
Has that been an issue? I mean, not having a four-wheel drive ambulance, for example.
It has. And so what we've done, especially with the last heavy snowfalls these last few years, we've kind of we work in tandem with Olympic Ambulance, and sometimes it's about getting the patient to the ambulance. So we have two wildland engines, which are four-wheel drive. So we will put chains all around front and back, and those are usually able to muscle their way to the houses. And so unfortunately, you might not get the comfortable gurney for the first little bit. You might get to right up front in the fire engine to get you down to the ambulance where we can rendezvous at a road that's been plowed. But usually we run into long driveways with a lot of snow.
My next thing, because you do have a lot of people that live on those way off the road type driveways, and that can be an issue. That's part of what you do when you're a rural fire district.
Yep, and the state and the county have their priorities for plowing, and they'll plow the roads as they can, but they don't do private driveways or anything like that.
Very interesting, though. I think with it back to the ambulance discussion too, is that hopefully you've got a patient that can ride down in one of the, then you get into it. If you have somebody that's in some real serious shape, that's not the best situation for getting. I mean, you would love to be able to get them right into an ambulance from their home if need be.
When we've had patients that aren't able to sit up or need to be lying down, we've had to use our rescue litter, and it takes several people to pack them out. And sometimes, if it's slippery, then we have to set up a road system so we don't have them toboggan down the hill without us. So,
all right. Just some of the issues. I just thought I would bring it up since we're talking about kind of the first blast of winter here and how it does affect things, not only on the types of things you may have to go out on calls, but even getting to them. And frankly, with your volunteers, it's getting them to the call as well sometimes too, right?
Exactly. Everything gets slowed down. We're still about 85% volunteers. So on larger incidents or multiple stacked incidents, the volunteers have to get out of their home, get to the fire stations, pick up the apparatus, and go. So it can slow everything down, which unfortunately in an emergency situation is not the ideal.
So the best thing for us out there is to be prepared and be careful, and let's not have a whole lot of calls come in. I think that might be the best word for folks that would help you out.
Exactly. Minimize the responses that we have to go to.
Right. So. Okay. Let's switch gears, pun intended. We're going to talk about vehicle fire safety. And some of this is kind of interesting because of the types of vehicles that we've changed it out with all of the EVs and hybrids and things that are out there as well. And I don't think we have ever talked about vehicle fires when I've had you on the program in the past, or at least it's been a long time.
No, I mean, we hit the common, because we hit the big ticket items, fire safety in the winter, home, smoke alarms, those kind of things, but decided that, we don't really talk about vehicle fires, and it can have not only an impact to somebody's health and well-being, but also their financial impact if they lose their vehicle. So,
and I don't know, anecdotally, I know you've got some stats here, but I think you do go on a lot of vehicle fire calls, don't you?
We average about 10 to 15. So looking back at our data, it wasn't as much as we thought. Some years we have more than others, but overall in the United States, there's a little over 200,000 vehicle fires each year.
And of course, those range from, the car catches on fire in a garage, for example, or if you're out on it and there's a crash and something happens.
Yeah, the vehicles could catch fire because of various reasons. We look at the mechanical reasons, and a lot of people, the big dramatic fires are the large 18-wheelers or whatnot, but the vast majority of vehicles on the road today are passenger vehicles, and that's where we see the most fires.
All right, share a couple of stats with us. Nationwide, some of these are actually, I think, higher than I thought.
Yeah, there's, like I said, there's about little over 200,000 vehicle fires, and then most of those happen on highways. So 174,000 of them are highway vehicle fires, and but 83% of those are passenger vehicles. So it's the cars everybody's driving around day in and day out, and then it's very important that if you do have a vehicle fire, you need to act quickly. While it seems very intuitive to get out of the vehicle or whatnot, if you're in a vehicle accident or something like that, you may not be able to quickly open your doors or anything like that. So it can have the potential to trap somebody quickly, even if you're not involved in a car accident. So
part of this is the shock of this happening. If it's outside of an actual accident, where you may be driving along, all of a sudden, something catches on fire in the engine.
And that is something that, people need to be aware of. If your vehicle starts acting funny, things start to look weird or anything like that, you see excessive smoke. We speak from experience. We had a vehicle fire in the fire district earlier this year.
There you go.
Luckily, the fire,
even the firefighters,
the firefighter driving the fire engine noticed a little bit of smoke and was able to stop and quickly put it out and save the vehicle. So we're very appreciative of him. So,
all right. So tell us what we should do if we're driving along and something like that happens to us. We're not driving along with a fire engine, for example. So we may not be as equipped, perhaps, to deal with it. But what should we do?
The first thing you want to do is pull over as quickly as you can when it's safe. Obviously, if you're on a freeway and people are going 80, 90 miles an hour, it's just almost as dangerous to stop and try to get out of your vehicle. So pull over as quickly as you can, as safely as you can. Obviously, if the fire gets too big and you need to bail out, do that immediately. Try to turn off the engine if you can. Turn it off. That hopefully will help stop the fuel pumps and all those kind of things from maybe contributing to the fire. And don't return to the vehicle. Some people have fire extinguishers. They may be able to try to put it out if it's small, but what we don't want people to do is it can grow rather fast and quickly. So we don't want people to try to get back into their vehicles to pull things out and then get trapped and overwhelmed by smoke, fumes, toxic chemicals.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of things that in smoldering is toxic. I mean, when you think of all the plastics and things, especially in a modern car, that can pretty nasty.
Yeah, and that's, if you want to grab your cell phone out of the back seat, if you stick your head in there and it's an enclosed area, while you may think, well, the door will be open, you could be quickly overcome, which could incapacitate you, which then, you may fall victim to that. So.
Right. Okay, so here's the thing that I think a lot of people, they pop the hood because they think the fire's in there. That's not the right thing to do, right?
We try to keep it contained as best we can. The firefighters will get there and pop the hood, but of course we're coming with the equipment to quickly extinguish it. You try to kind of keep as much air restriction as you can to the fire and to contain the flames so that they don't spread as much. So if you can, just keep the hood closed unless you have the ability to put out a fire. Again, if it's small, a lot of people will carry fire extinguishers like that. That's what they're designed for. But a lot of people are also surprised at how much fire can be underneath that hood. So when they pop it, it's a lot larger they can, and they have that potential of getting that in the face. Right. Obviously, firefighters are wearing their protective gear every time they do this. So,
and then 100 feet from a burning vehicle. I mean, you get a ways away is a good thing to do. Now, that may be difficult if you're on a highway, I would think, but...
Yep. Try to get as far away as you can. If you're on a highway or something, get on the other side of the divider or something, because what we find as well is with all the compressed gas cylinders and stuff, things can fly off the vehicle as they heat up. I mean, it's not going to be quite like the movies where every vehicle gets a little love tap and explodes or anything like that. But there are components that can spread fire, especially if there are batteries involved or magnesium or any type of fire burning like that. It can really... throw hot material or other items which could be a danger, so we recommend you stay far away. Plus, the fire truck's going to be showing up soon,
and you need some space.
We need some space.
Right.
So
and also in your notes on here, call 911. It seems obvious, but I think this happens quite often. People forget to call 911 in the panic of everything sometimes.
Everybody's got a cell phone, and I think there's right now that assumption. I mean, because
somebody else is going to make the call.
Yeah, it's kind of feast or famine there. Did anybody call 911? No, nobody called 911. Or 223 people have called 911 because they passed the burning vehicle, which, our dispatchers just love that. So
you're right. But make sure somebody has done it.
It's just like CPR. If somebody's doing CPR, you need to designate somebody to call 911 and ensure it's happened. If in the event you're unsure, by all means call 911.
All right, let's talk let's do some prevention first, and then I want to come back and want to talk about EVs, because that creates a whole new dynamic, especially for you folks when you show up on one of these. But how do you prevent a vehicle fire in the first place? Some tips for us.
The biggest factor is going to be make sure your vehicle is well maintained and inspected. Usually mechanical failure or something like that is what's going to generate the heat that starts a fire, whether that's in your wheels, loose fittings, degraded pipes or hoses or anything like that. Little mice that live in there like to chew through electrical wiring and stuff like that. So maintain your vehicle.
Do you find, I don't know if it is it electrical systems that cause most of the fires that you tend to, or not?
It's kind of all over the place.
Okay,
sometimes
so it's not just
a brake
one thing.
fire, sometimes it's a fuel leak. Unfortunately, data drives everything, and a lot of times you don't really know what started it, so it becomes, kind of one of the cliches is the most common cause of fires is unknown, because you're not able to determine exactly what caused it. So it's just an overall make sure your don't overload, electrical systems don't.
Yep. Well, and I only bring that up. You mentioned about mice, things chewing on wires and making that happen, especially this time of year. We go back kind of to this winter weather sort of thing. This is when this stuff tends to happen more often.
They're trying to stay warm. Your vehicle pulls in the driveway, it's warm. So they may, rodents or whatever can get in there. And we've had vehicle fires start because somebody's chewed through the electrical wiring, which causes an arc. And
all right. So be careful of that. All right. Let's get other tips besides keeping the mice out.
One big thing is make sure that you don't carry any kind of gasoline or propane in the passenger compartment. You want to ideally keep it in a well-ventilated space on the exterior of the vehicle. And if you do have to have something in an enclosed vehicle, make sure the windows are open so that the fumes have some place to go. It's not recommended at all that you do that, but some people don't have that option, don't want a pickup truck. And one of the key things is a lot of vehicle fires can be started from a vehicle accident. Everything works fine as long as it's where it's supposed to be, but once you get in a vehicle accident and rearrange how your car's configured, it can cause cause a fire. So just drive safely in a well-maintained vehicle.
Yeah, and I would think quite often when you come upon an accident, a fire starts kind of after the fact because of fuel spill, something that gets sloshed around. It looked like it was going to be fine to begin with, but
they can. And one of the big kind of the mask of that is if we blow a radiator or something like that, and there's a lot of steam, we'll get dispatched to a vehicle fire. We'll get there, and it turns out to be steam. But we do get fuel leaks, oil leaks all the time from vehicle accidents. So.
All right. Now, we have entered this new age of electric vehicles, and that means lots of batteries and lots of things like that. That creates a whole new dynamic for vehicle fires and also for, I know, just responding to car crashes, for example, for you folks. You kind of have to find out what kind of cars you got out there now.
Yep, there's more and more models and versions of electric vehicles. Firefighters across the United States are being faced with this conundrum of, what do we do with these things? And they require special extinguishment priorities and tactics. And so, it's challenging because until regulations start to come up to make things uniform, each manufacturer can be different. So we have to look at resources for each make and model to determine where we can cut, where not to cut, where to.
Do you carry specific, fire retardant on your vehicles for an electric vehicle fire now? Something different, so you roll on this thing, it's a Tesla, you got to use something different than just what you might have done in an old combustible engine.
We don't. We have foam, we have dry chemical extinguishers, we have water, and sometimes it's going to require a lot of water. But what they're also finding, especially when the batteries get involved in the fire, they'll get extinguishment. I think this happened in California. They got extinguishment. The wrecker came, loaded it on the flatbed. Halfway to the impound yard, it lit off again. They came out, extinguished it again. They got it to the impound yard, put it out, and it reignited.
Wow.
So there are actually some larger municipalities that are buying, they almost look like large dumpsters that are submersion tanks where they'll just pick the vehicle up and set it in there because they can't predict how many hours, days later that it may start to cook back off and reignite.
Wow.
So,
a new issue. I know you also want to talk a bit about the charging of those vehicles. That's where a lot of fires can happen. And here's one where you could get a house fire out of charging your vehicle.
Yeah, you just want to make sure that you have a properly installed dedicated circuit for charging your electric vehicle. Make sure that you're don't just assume that your power in your house is going to be sufficient, because if you start to overload it, wiring can heat up. Depending on the quality of the wiring, it could melt, and you can have yourself a little fire at home. So be careful of that. Make sure it meets manufacturer's recommendations.
I don't know around here. Are you dealing more with electric vehicle stuff now yet or not? I don't know if we've kind of, we're still not quite to that point. I know it's getting there, but
we see them on the roadway more. We've had several accidents involving electric vehicles, and it's a learning thing. We've gone out to Wilder's been gracious enough to host us once to go through several of their vehicles and classes to show us what the newest versions are. And so while it's not all that common, because still the majority of the vehicles on the road aren't electric, but we anticipate over the next several years that'll become the norm.
This is a crazy question. We could do a whole show on this. But when you go out on like an entrapment on an electric vehicle, you mentioned, you can't just cut in certain places like you normally, quote unquote, could with an old style vehicle. Do you have I want to call it a manual? Do you have a lookup so you can say, okay, this is this kind of car and this is where we can actually, try to cut in to get somebody out?
Yeah. With as rapid as the development of these cars and they're hitting the road, we rely on the internet. So we rely on, they have websites that will give you, here's the emergency manual for all these types of vehicles. You can try to look up what type of vehicle it is, because they all are kind of unique. They don't have a universal master switch that everybody knows.
Right. Yeah.
There are some commonalities between the vehicles where, not to cut these. If it's orange, don't cut it. But then again, on this vehicle, if it's orange, that's the emergency cut switch. And so,
it's a different game though, because in the old days you didn't have anything like that that's running through the whole vehicle. For example, you could pretty well cut and be okay.
And then these are large battery banks, which again, once the vehicle is compromised and rearranged, trying to cut into this and that, you're trying to use your tools there. You got to be very cautious of where you can and can't cut.
All right, before we let you get out of here, let's talk about RVs, because I don't know. I see a lot of RV fires now that I look at this in the notes. Is that maybe they're just more susceptible to it because of what's being carried in it, and they tend to get overloaded? I'm not sure, but let's talk about that and how do we prevent it?
We do see RV fires are quite common, and it's kind of that mix of now you're entering the home component of a vehicle. So not only do you have the risk of a moving motor vehicle, you have cooking, heating, people living in
propane, you're doing all sorts of things,
And so it's always, that's why we always, just like your home, every RV needs to have a CO monitor, smoke alarm, a gas detector, if you've got those kind of things in there. So, and, social economic factors can see more people living in RVs as a permanent residence, and so that only increases the factors of risk for a fire in an RV.
I know that you point out here, and this is something that maybe you don't intend, but you can easily overload your electrical circuits on an RV, even if you're running it off shore power, so to speak, because it's not like a regular house necessarily, depending on how you have that wired into wherever you're drawing your main power from.
Yeah, and it depends on how much you want to plug in, your microwave, your TVs. All of a sudden, we find in society today, everybody's got a lot of electrical equipment. So I need to charge this, and this. And so if you're trying to charge 3 phones, 2 other devices while watching TV and using the microwave, usually what starts to spring up are the multi-plug adapters as they move out. And so don't overload the electrical system in your vehicle. Probably drain the battery pretty quick, but also runs that risk of starting a fire.
And I'm just going to guess, this might be the biggest tip you have, is if you're cooking in your RV, stay there. Yeah. Because I think a lot of these things, it's easy to do, especially if you're out camping or something like that. You're going to run out and, I'm in the middle of hauling things out to the table or whatever if you're eating outside. I tend to think that might be the biggest cause of RV fires.
Yeah,
unattended
stoves. Cooking in there. Like I said, you're combining that home fire risk with the mobile vehicle risk. And so, if you're sitting around the campfire and you run in to cook something on the stove like that, it can be very easily just to forget that you left it on. So make sure if you're cooking, keep the combustibles away. There's not a lot of room in an RV, and you don't want the dishcloths to stack up next to the stove, and just have an adult or responsible person in attendance of any cooking.
All right. Great tips. Jake, thanks for coming in. Stay warm. Let's hope everything just goes well this week and we just kind of skirt the bad stuff and we can move on. But it's always great to have you in. Jake Patterson's Fire Chief for Clallam 2 Fire Rescue. We'll talk to you next month, all right?
All right. Sounds good.
All right. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more right after this.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Exciting news to keep you on your feet. 2 new podiatrists have discovered Olympic Medical Center and have joined our team. Ready to elevate your access to foot health care, Dr. Olga Dromiartsky and Dr. Jared Davis have joined the team alongside Dr. Adam Kilpack. Whether it's pain, sports injuries, diabetes, or general foot wellness, the OMC Podiatry team has you covered. Discover your next steps towards foot health at olympicmedical.org/podiatry.
Jim's Pharmacy offers flu shots from 9 till 6, Monday through Friday. High dose is recommended for 65 and older. We bill Medicare Part B, Medicaid, and most private insurances. RSV vaccine is for those 60 and older covered by Medicare D insurance only. And call us for availability on new COVID vaccinations. Other vaccines are available, including pneumonia, Shingrix, Tdap, MMR, Hep A and Hep B series, Gardasil, meningococcal, and more. Jim's Pharmacy, behind the Port Angeles Post Office.
McCrory Carpet One is part of a 1,000 store co-op. That means you get the competitive pricing of a big box store, but with a superior installation. Their team of professional installers are all employees who live here on the peninsula. Their installation teams take pride in their work because they know they're working for their neighbors and friends, local craftsmen helping local people. Experience the difference. Always priced right and always done right at McCrory Carpet One.
Sharing a dream, working together, we're on the same team.
Are you tired of paying high interest rates on your consumer loans? Look no further than Straight View Credit Union. We're proud to offer the best consumer loan rates in Clallam County, so you can borrow what you need without breaking the bank. Whether you're looking to purchase a new car, make home improvements, or consolidate debt, we've got you covered. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff will guide you through the loan process and help you find a payment plan that works for your budget. Plus, as a member-owned cooperative, we prioritize your financial well-being over profits. Join us today and experience the Straight View Credit Union difference. Visit us online at svcu.com or in person to apply for your consumer loan today. Insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
Harper Ridgeview and Squim Valley Funeral Chapel offer experience you can lean on and the compassion to ease your loss. Their job is to help families cope with loss of loved ones by removing the stress involved in planning funeral arrangements. All of the staff has a real heart for serving families and their needs in the most difficult of times. They truly realize the importance in what they're doing for the community. Squim Valley Funeral Chapel and Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapel in Port Angeles, the caring support you'll need in your time of loss.
All right, welcome back to the show. Going to talk a little bit about emergency management, a bit about the sheriff's office, which encompasses all of that. And I think we did a little bit of a pivot here, and fittingly so with the weather that's been in, that we talk about preparing for emergencies and such. We welcome Clallam County Sheriff Brian King. Brian, good to see you again. Thanks for stopping by. As always, great to have you back. And you brought along Justine Shirley, who's back again to chat with us. She's the emergency management coordinator for the county. And Justine, it's good to see you again as well.
Thank you. Good to see you.
And fittingly, Brian, we'll start with you. We've got a lot of weather out there, and that's kind of what emergency management's all about around here, and it might be a good opportunity to talk about how to be prepared and what the county does in the purview under the sheriff's office with emergency management.
I think today's a perfect day to plug our program, Preparing a Year. It's something that Justine's been working on for quite some time. We're really proud of it at the sheriff's office. I look out the window today and look at some of the calls our deputies are responding to today. And, I put it into the lens that I imagine what it would look like if we had sustained winds today of 50 miles per hour or more for a prolonged period of time. And I think that it's important that, today is a weather event that we're sort of kind of used to here in the county. It's just a reminder that these events can get much greater, and we need our citizens to be prepared.
I talked in the last segment a bit about, and this I think fits in with your deputies as well, getting out there to respond. I mean, you're in a rural area. The weather has an effect not only on us, but also on your response as well. And if we can be better prepared, it makes it a little easier on your folks, too.
Oh, absolutely. One of the obstacles we have today is trees and power lines, and getting beyond those trees and power lines to call. And so we really need our citizens to be prepared to know that there's going to be those obstacles, those barriers that exist for even our deputies to come in emergency situations. Prior to coming into the studio today, I was talking with Justine about, my experiences on the West End as a longtime West End deputy and being without power for days, and folks that are on wells that rely on electricity for their water, and just going okay, today's a perfect day to talk about all those factors and all those things.
Exactly. We just had a little rundown out there in the West End. We've had a couple of series where the power's been out, PPA's been down, a little 16-hour outage just a few days ago on the West End.
And we could be, just looking at what the weather looks like today is especially when it affects those BPA transmission lines in a severe weather storm. I've been on the West End where we've been without power for 5 days.
Yeah.
And so it's just that realization that, hey, we need to be more prepared, better prepared, because there's, folks tend to think that there's just a lot of us first responders out there, when there really isn't. We need to rely on people to be prepared.
Exactly. All right. So, Justine, let's swing over to you and let's talk about this Prepare in a Year program, because I think it's kind of I don't mean this in a bad way, a novel idea. I mean, it's a great way to get us in gear, I think, and that's really the intention of this, isn't it?
It is the intention. It's a great way to, a great affordable way to get people prepared. They do one task per month, and each task takes about an hour. So very simple, inexpensive, because it asks you to look around your home for items that you may already have that you don't need to buy. And then when you go to the store, you just add a couple extra canned items, at the cost of maybe $5 to slowly get prepared over the course of the year.
You've got this all lined out for folks too. I mean, as we talk about this, people can head over to your website and just print it out, right? That's the way I understand it.
Yeah, they can head over to our website, which is www.clallamcountywa.gov. And they can register, or they can just follow along if they choose. Right. If they register, we're going to be pushing out email reminders, additional tips, things like that.
So you literally will be telling us, hey, make sure you buy some extra this.
Yes.
Make sure you do this next time you're out at the store.
Yeah, we will. We want a lot of public engagement. In fact, to date, we have just under 1,000 people registered, which we're really excited about.
Yeah, I know your goal is to get every household probably in the county on this thing, right?
Yeah, in general, they say about 20% of any community is prepared to some degree, and we would like to raise those odds.
So tell me what prepared looks like in the sense of, as an emergency management coordinator. If I were, you look at a household and they say, yep, we're prepared. What would that look like? I mean, ultimately, what would that be?
So that would look like enough food, water, medication, and other essentials. It's very individual. We're saying 30 days here on the peninsula. The book says 2 weeks, but we're asking people 30 days. That'll be for our worst case scenario, a Cascadia type earthquake with a ton of damage where we cannot get supplies onto the peninsula immediately. But if you are prepared for 30 days, then you're prepared for something like this, or a 5 day.
2, 3, 4, 5 days is nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think one of the things people will probably say, and you can answer this, is I don't have room to do this. How do I store 30 days worth of things? What do I do? And maybe that is an obstacle for folks. They kind of think that, well, if I don't have a place to put it, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah, there are some online sites that talk about how you can be prepared in apartment buildings. But it's true. Yeah. Storing a lot of food, food takes up room. So we have this kit and handouts that we do where one bucket, it feeds one adult for 30 days. And
a bucket?
A bucket.
All
a
right.
5-gallon bucket. That's
right.
30 days worth of food for one adult.
So if you've got 4 folks in the house, 4 5-gallon buckets, it's going to take care of them if you follow the plan, at least.
And don't forget your pets. You need...
Yeah, that was my next question, is the other things we sometimes forget. Prescriptions. We forget about things that are beyond just what the meals might be.
Yeah, so we advise people to make sure they have enough prescription medication for 30 days, which can be a little challenging.
What is your advice for that? Because, some people, you can't just run down to the pharmacy and get an extra prescription necessarily. They won't fill it in some cases.
Yeah.
So what do we do?
We don't have great answers just yet. There are, allegedly, I haven't tested this, but allegedly you could go out and you can get one emergency refill from a pharmacy. There's groups that are working on this because it is an issue.
Big time. And in an area like here where we have a lot of older folks who have a lot of medication, it just happens to be what happens when you start getting older. This becomes a bigger issue, I think, even maybe in some other areas.
Yeah, it does. And but as part of this, we're also telling people to take pictures of your prescriptions. So in the case of an emergency, if you lose them, you have a copy of that prescription and you can take it in under emergency circumstances and get it filled. We take it further to say, take pictures of all of your important documents, put them on a thumb drive, and then we hand out these waterproof containers that float that they can put that thumb drive in, or they can go purchase one, and then put that in your Go kit. So that you're ready to go.
That's a great idea, because that's another issue. I think folks go, what do I do with all my documents?
Yeah.
Take a picture of them.
Take a picture
document
of them.
it, put it on a thumb drive.
Yeah.
And then you have these waterproof containers. Basically.
Yeah, we have. They're going to be one of the prizes we give out to some of the people who register.
Okay.
So
excellent.
Register.
That's exactly. Okay, so I'm going to take a break in a minute, but as we head to that, how do we register? We go to your website and just sign up? That's all it takes at that point?
Go to our website. Okay. On the front page is a link. They just need to sign up, and they're registered. And again, if you don't want to register, if you don't want the emails from us, you can still follow along via our website or via Facebook.
Before we hit the break, is this a program that is similarly happening in other places? I mean, did this come from another place? Are we mirroring what other people are doing?
Yeah, we got this document from, I think this is a national program, but we got it from the state of Washington, their emergency management department. That's where we got all our supplies.
All right. We'll come back when we talk a bit more about the Prepare in a Year program. And again, if I go to the county's website, I go to emergency management. You have your own page on there now? I'm not sure.
We do, but it's on that front page under news flashes.
There you go. So you don't even have to go inside anymore. Right. You'll see a big link on the front. All right. Yep. We'll talk a bit more with Justine Shirley there, who's the emergency management coordinator for the county, and also Brian King, the sheriff for Clallam County, when we come back. All about emergency preparedness this afternoon. With pending winter storms this week, what a fitting time to be talking about this, and we'll chat more about that right after this.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers, Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
Happy New Year! This is Dale from Wilder Auto, and new beginnings to us means lots of new inventory. If you're truck shopping, then there's no better place on the peninsula to find the biggest selection of mid-size and full-size trucks. We have the complete lineup of Ram trucks, Toyota Tundra and Tacoma, Nissan Frontier and Titan, and the award-winning Honda Ridgeline. Add to that the Wilder Advantage, well, why would you go anywhere else? Stop by and see us at 24/7 at wilderauto.com.
When shopping for building supplies, lumber, home goods, or hardware items, are you traveling to one of those big box stores? When you wander those big box store aisles, how's that customer service? Absent? Possibly lacking in knowledge?
I don't know.
At Angelus Millwork and Hartnaggles, we have 2 convenient Port Angeles locations, and each one is far from the big box store experience.
Yay!
Since our stores are employee-owned, each one of us has a vested interest in how we serve and treat our customers. You won't find us hiding in the back aisle or turning the other way when you make eye contact for help.
They can't see me if I can't see them.
We're excited to share our day with you while making sure we set the bar high for what true customer service is all about. So if you're looking for a hometown building supply store that treats their customers like next-door neighbors, has deep knowledge on building products while continually supporting the local community, then avoid those trips out of town and come see us today. Angelus Millwork and Hartnagel Building Supply. Building homes, building community since 1906.
Hi, this is Clallam PUD, and we have a few tips to help you as we approach storm season and its potential for power outages. Be prepared by checking your flashlights and purchasing extra batteries. Stock up on non-perishable food and water. Have a plan for any medical devices that require power or medications that need refrigeration. If your power does go out, first, check your breakers. If they're okay, then report the outage to us by phone or by using our Smart Hub app on your mobile device. Visit clallampud.net for updates, to view our current outage map, and for tips and resources on outage preparation and safety.
You're talking about emergency preparedness, and actually a program that Clallam County has put together to help you get with it within a year, basically. And it's a plan. What was the exact now? I think I may have. Is it plan in a year? Is that what prepare in a year? There you go. We were just talking. That's Justine Shirley. She's emergency management coordinator during the break about kind of how this goes. And as you talked about, it's really kind of like these 1-hour modules, if you will, that you can sit down with your family and work through. But give us a little bit of it. We talked about communication, for example, as one of the things that this takes you through. A lot of people don't realize, you may not all be in the same place when a disaster hits.
Yeah. So that is actually this month's project is a communications plan. And you need to plan with your family how you can get in touch with each other if cell phone lines go down or if, there are other obstacles. So what's important is, first of all, being alerted to the fact that there is an emergency and being able to listen to updates. And the best thing, make sure that you have like a weather radio or some sort of radio that you can run off of batteries, because if all our lines go down, that's gonna be it.
Is there advice for folks in this age of cell phones where everybody's on a cell phone? If the cell network goes down, what's the advice for folks as the backup plan to communicate, to get a hold of somebody who's at work or, separated from the rest of the family?
Well, it becomes very challenging because we are really dependent on our cell phones. So you could try to find a landline. Sometimes a text will go through. If the cell towers aren't completely down, you can get a text through. We saw a few months ago when we had a bunch of cell lines go down, you could still call 911, at least to report an emergency. Of course, you're not going to want to contact them just to,
Yeah. So again, this emphasizes this discussion to have with the ones closest to you about, okay, how might I get a hold of you if I can't call you on your cell phone?
Yeah.
Right.
Another thing is we don't remember phone numbers anymore.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Part of that communications plan is writing down all the phone numbers.
Yeah, exactly. So. All right. So there you go. That's this month's module then,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
So that's how this works. And it's once a month. You're going to have a 1 hour sort of class, if you will, that you can go through on your own.
Yeah, it's 1 hour project. You download the guidebook. It walks you through all the projects. We send out additional links if you want to do additional work.
What's next month by chance?
Next month is an action plan. So that is, you're spread out, and this works into your communications plan because you might have a location set for your family where you're going to meet up. Another thing is kind of back to the communications plan. You want an out-of-area contact.
Yep.
Because if the cell phone towers can be overwhelmed, but sometimes you can get outside of the county and they're better able to track everybody in your family. So that works towards your action plan as well.
Great things you don't necessarily think of, especially at the time of something going haywire. So some people may say, okay, it's January, you're going to do this in 12 months. So if I sign up now, of course, I'm going to get going on this, but maybe if I start in March, I might have to do more than one in a month to get caught up. Is that?
Certainly. You can either get caught up or just carry it around into 2025 to catch up.
The key is it's 12 months to get you ready, whether we want to get there or not. Can I squeeze this into 6 months?
You could, certainly.
Is there going to be an available? I suppose if I download the whole thing, I can go as fast as I want with this, as long as I go through it. All right. It's an interesting program, because a lot of these things are stuff we've talked in emergency management with folks like you a lot about, but I guess it's never been put in maybe something that, in this sort of a vehicle, if you will.
Yeah, I think this format it's small enough that people can complete the tasks. It's spread out enough that they can, they have time to complete the tasks, and it's not going to be overwhelming or expensive. Yeah. And then we hope with, all of our public engagement, we can keep people on task and make it fun.
Right. So let's talk a bit more about your public engagement. I mean, you want people to sign up, obviously. You're doing some giveaways, some other things. How else are you going to try to, kind of keep that fire lit, so to speak?
So we're currently partnering with the libraries, and they have all the handouts and displays on hand for each month. We hope to partner with some local businesses to do pop-up information centers, and they can go, as they're going to buy their extra food or water, they can also come and talk to us. Of course, we're going to be at the home show, we'll be at, Kids Fest and the fair, talking to people about preparedness. And then we hope to do some public presentations throughout the year, just depending on what the project is for that month.
Got it. Yeah, because some may be more apt to a public display than others, or a little bit more hands-on, if you will. I got to go back to the 5-gallon bucket question. Some people probably heard that and thought, well, okay, how in the world do I get enough in that bucket for one adult for 30 days? Describe what goes in there, if you can, just so people maybe have an idea of what they're dealing with, and it may be surprising how easy it is.
Yeah. So my bucket, for example, and each one is individual.
It'll be different, right? Yeah, depending on who you are, what your needs are.
Yeah. So I have a lot of canned goods, and then some packaged pastas that they don't take, a lot of backpacking food, things that you can heat quickly, that won't take a lot of water. But if anybody's interested, we also have, and we got this from the Joyce area, we have their meals for $158, where they have worked out a whole menu for, I believe it's 2 weeks, for 2 adults, and it all fits in that bucket. And
amazing.
It's all prepackaged foods. They already cooked them up and figured it out, and you're using the water from the cans to help rehydrate your pastas. It's all been figured out. Super easy. We have handouts on that if anybody's interested.
Okay,
they can just contact us.
It's the best thing to say though is you got to get started.
Yes.
I think we went to as we started this discussion is so many of us have good intentions, but good intentions are just that until you actually act on them.
Yeah, you just need to do it. You just need to get started. And I think this is a great program for that.
Right. Now, speaking of which, the sheriff himself signed up to get on this as well. So, Brian, you're good to go. And you talked about how this is going to maybe roll out in your family as you go through this.
Yeah, so we do a lot of public outreach, and we throw a lot of to-do tasks at our citizens. And I look at this and I said, like, hey, I mean, this is something that I can do with my family to, and not take it a whole lot of time to make, but make everybody within my family think about emergency preparedness. And so I've signed up. We're starting our instead of maybe playing chess or checkers in the evening, we're going to talk emergency management. I know it's not everybody's it's not the most fun thing to talk about on an evening, but I think it's the threat of a Cascadia subduction zone event is real, and it's real in our community. And I live and think about it every single day, but I know my family doesn't necessarily, because that's just not what they do. Yeah. And the dynamics of my family is that my son, my wife, they work on the west end of the county, and they're back and forth between Port Angeles every day. And what if an event like that were to occur in the middle of the day? We have a lot of our citizens that are driving back and forth at various locations throughout the county. And I think of all of our bridges, all of our infrastructure, and how families can be separated in an event like this. And so this is a program that is real, and that can get families to start talking about things like reunification, about communication. I certainly know that my very first concern would be the location of my loved ones.
Yeah, right.
And so this starts the conversation. This gets folks starting to really think about emergency preparedness.
All right, and the price to get started is pretty good too. It's free. You don't have to sign up and pay a fee or anything. You can just get going. All right, Brian, great to have you. Thanks for coming in. As always, I know we're going to talk scams relatively soon,
yes.
Because there's some other things happening. But I think with the weather, impending weather, this was a great conversation to start with. Because if you're ready for a Cascadia event, you'll be ready for a snowstorm.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
there you go. And Justine, Shirley, always great to chat with you, and thanks for shepherding this program through. It's really great. Get over to the website and get signed up.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it. We're going to take a break and check in with the news coming up next.
Mark Gustafson, Funeral Director for Harper Ridgeview and Sequim Valley Funeral Chapels.
Well, I've been in the funeral industry for about 39 years. I've had an opportunity in all those years to help everybody in Clallam County, my family, your family, and that's what makes me feel good, is because I'm always there. I've always been there, and I'm still here helping families. So when somebody needs something, just call Mark, because I'm always here for you.
Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapel and Sequim Valley Funeral Chapel, because your loved ones deserve the best.
Easy Pawn has new merchandise coming into all of the Easy Pawn family locations. Easy Pawn Downtown, Easy Pawn East, and Caviar Jewelry. The new gift shop, the Pawa Treasure Trap, inside the downtown location is taking shape and loaded with fun collectibles and pop culture memorabilia. Located at the front of Easy Pawn downtown at 113B West 1st Street, open 10 till 6 Tuesday through Friday. Come check out all the fun items. We look forward to your visit.
At the YMCA, we're more than just a gym. We're a community. From group exercise to personal training, we have something for everyone. We're here to help you take the first step to a happier, healthier you. For the month of January, we're offering $0 join fees for anyone who becomes a member. Find your Y in Sequim, Port Angeles, or Jefferson County and join our Y family today. Learn more online at OlympicPeninsulaYMCA.org/join the Y.
Neighbors, the next generation, our community.
The chance to rebuild and thrive belongs to everyone.
United Way of Clallam County is committed to improving the health, education, and financial stability of every person in our community.
With our partners, donors, and advocates, we've reached more people to make a bigger difference in Clallam County.
Give for a brighter future. Advocate for a better tomorrow. Volunteer to make a positive change. That's what it means to live united.
Join us in making an impact in our community by donating at www.unitedwayclallam.org/donate.
The North Peninsula's news. The North Peninsula's talk. News Radio KONP. Port Angeles.
From ABC News,
a Radio Pacific station.
I'm Lindsay Davis, anchor of Prime, streaming weeknights on ABC News Live. Walter Reed Medical Center revealing Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin had a procedure to treat early prostate cancer and later suffered a UTI. The Department of Defense facing scrutiny as senior administration officials were not told for days about Austin's condition. Pentagon spokesman Major General Pat Ryder.
We've acknowledged there were some shortfalls, and so it's important that we go back and look at what those shortfalls were.
The White House Chief of Staff now ordering cabinet members to notify his office if they cannot perform their duties. Former President Trump was in Washington, D.C. in federal court for a hearing in the election interference case brought by special counsel Jack Smith. Attorney James Pierce pushing back against the Trump legal team, which claims no president should be criminally prosecuted without an impeachment or conviction from the Senate.
What kind of world are we living in if, as I understood my friend on the other side to say here, a president orders his SEAL team to assassinate a political rival and resigns, for example, before an impeachment? Not a criminal act.
Trump claims he should have absolute immunity. The Iowa caucuses are now less than a week away, but severe winter weather canceling some campaign events. Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Tel Aviv stressed the U.S. is focused on humanitarian issues in Gaza stemming from the Israel-Hamas conflict, but he pushed back about a case against Israel that's now before the UN's highest legal body.
The charge of genocide is meritless.
Blinken meeting with officials in an effort to avoid the conflict from expanding. 2023 was one of the costliest in the U.S. due to extreme weather disasters. A new report by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says the U.S. saw 23 separate billion-dollar weather and climate disasters last year, adding up to nearly $93 billion. Experts say this highlights the increasing risk due to climate change. You're listening to ABC News.
My doctor told me my blood pressure is borderline. I figured I could worry about it or do something about it. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula. It works safely and naturally to help maintain healthy blood pressure with a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
I'm Lindsay Davis. For the latest on today's headlines, be sure to watch Prime tonight, starting at 7 Eastern on ABC News Live. Now with more news, here's Michelle Franzen.
Former Arizona resident Ray Epps sentenced today for his role in the January 6th attack. He pleaded guilty in September to a misdemeanor charge. The judge sentenced him to a year of probation. Epps was the target of far-right conspiracy theories, falsely accusing him of being a government operative and received death threats. Following the holidays, states are seeing an uptick in flu and respiratory cases.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says 38 states plus New York City are now experiencing high or very high levels of respiratory illness activity. That means 7 more states since just last week have hit that benchmark. Hospitalizations from the flu are also up 35% in the past week. Ann Flaherty, ABC News, Washington.
In Las Vegas, the man charged in the 1996 shooting death of rapper Tupac Shakur has received a hefty bail amount.
A Las Vegas judge setting bail for Dwayne Davis, known as Keefe D, at $750,000, making it unlikely he'll be able to get out of jail before trial. Davis's lawyers argued he is not a flight risk or a threat to the community, but prosecutors say he is charged with murder and that his phone calls indicate he may have been concocting a plan to hurt witnesses. The judge giving him a higher bail. If he can find the money to post it, Davis will go on house arrest.
ABC's Alex Stone. I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate Outstanding Agents. Outstanding results, 457-6600. Winter weather blowing into the area today. A wind warning is up for the North Olympic Peninsula through today, and a lot of rain as well. Coastal flooding watches are also up. And then cold comes. By Thursday, forecasters expect temperatures to dip well below average for this time of year. And by this weekend, highs may not get out of the 20s. With that, a threat of snow Thursday through Saturday. National Weather Service meteorologist Kirby Cook in Seattle says things are still in flux, but there is about a 60% chance of more than an inch of snow falling on the North Peninsula before the weekend is through.
Here's your Newsradio KONP forecast. A wind advisory continues until 10 p.m. tonight. Isolated rain showers likely this afternoon, otherwise cloudy skies expected. Highs level off around 45. West winds 20 to 30 miles per hour. About an inch of snow Thursday through Thursday night. I'm weatherology meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently 46.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. George Camel, Ramsey personality, soon to be a #1 best-selling author of the book Breaking Free from Broke, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Dave starts this